Hi, Royal Ones. This is Miss Gigi coming at you again with another juicy episode. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about adultery or an extramarital affair. Thou shalt not commit adultery is one of the 10 commandments. This is very tough because temptation is everywhere. And people purposely put themselves on the path of another to make them commit this type of sin. There are people that actually think that's funny to see if they can get a married man to commit adultery on his wife, cheat on his wife. Adultery is it's tough because it's everything you work for and everything you accomplish in this marriage, and this jealous hearted, envious, godless person infiltrates your marriage and defiles your marital bed. And it's heartbreaking because you don't see it coming most of the time. And sometimes, you're caught unaware and it becomes treacherous. And you miss the red flags. We need to be emotionally available to your spouse. Hear them when they're expressing themselves or when something concerns them. Do not be disrespectful or dismissive. You need to communicate if there's a sexual strain in the marriage. Has there been little to no passion in your marital bed? You need to schedule quality time together as a couple and then, spend quality time at night to have sex. Sync your schedules together for making love. You don't make love as much as you used to. A few times a week, make it every night, if not every other night, and then stick to it. Don't make false promises and let your spouse down. Then he or she will look forward. They'll look other places to fill this void. If you don't become a listening ear to your husband, and there's prostitutes and escorts. It's really sad because there's prostitutes and escorts. They get hired not for sex, but just to listen to that man talk about their date. They say, "Oh, the wives stopped listening." They say things like, "Oh, she's in it for the money." This is when the man starts having, a cyber affair, sliding women DMs just to talk to them because they lonely. They lonely in their marriage. And then also, you don't make marriage sexually appealing anymore by wearing sexy lingerie or walking around the house with your shirt off or anything like that. Dance a little shimmy shimmy before sex to keep things spicy in the bedroom. The worst thing that can happen is if your spouse is dreaming about another man or another woman and they start fantasizing about them. This will pull them and that person closer together sexually. They start watching, erotic movies and looking at pornos and other pictures for sexual stimulation and enthusiasm. If you look at another man or another woman and you're married, that's committing adultery. If you look at them in a sexual manner, you commit adultery in your heart. Mentally, a woman and a man must be stimulated. And this can be done by, sexual conversation. Intelligent conversation. And if sexual conversation is foreplay, that works. Yes, that works. But, I was trying to say along the lines of a sapiosexual. So when you speak intelligently, hold on, that kind of choked me up a little bit. This coffee is so good. Sapiosexual is when you have an intelligent conversation with your spouse about your work and your day, or just having a sexual conversation, intelligent conversation around a certain topic, and also making intelligent conversation about your future plans and goals. That stimulates the mind. Adultery can overwhelm the marriage, and things happen like irreconcilable differences because of lack of trust and lack of insecurity. When things like this happens, this is when you find out if the marriage was built on the right principles, regarding if the man or the woman had in their heart the right intentions for marriage. Because they say you don't know until happens. So it's like now you get to find out, why are you with this person? Yes, we are to be kind to one another, tenderhearted and forgiving, but that has to go both ways. So whoever commits adultery destroy his soul. And this can happen because one person probably don't even believe this. Probably don't even believe in this, and the other person is Christian, and the other one don't. I don't believe that. I do whatever I want to do. I don't believe in that. Therefore, this person is his or her own God, because they'll do whatever they want to do. Is there a lack of connection in the relationship? If so, you must create and maintain a nurturing connection at all times in your marriage. You got to recognize the negative patterns in your relationship and address them ASAP, and be open and honest about the adultery. And it's worse if an outside child is born. But be open about what drove you to adultery. And remove the temptation. Move forward and be honest, and consider counseling. Not only is it a sin between your spouse and God, but it's also also society, because people are looking. People talk about what's going on, and they shun marriage, and they view it as a horrible thing. It's like, oh my God, marriage is so scary. I would never. Oh God. They say, I could never. And marriage is a beautiful union between a man and a woman that love each other. And so now you done got a negative stigma in the community about marriage in society. Marriage can be restored with God's help. Well, nothing is impossible with God. The consequences of adultery are, depression, guilt, anxiety, chronic stress, and other mental illness. Other mental issues like internal regret, physical and emotional distance in the marriage. If one spouse catch you cheating, or the other spouse cheating, now the other spouse wants payback. In order to restore your marriage, you have to let go and forgive that spouse. And so that you can also break down the barriers of judgment and move forward and reconnect with your spouse without fear. Adultery is horrible because it makes the other spouse, it tears them down spiritually. It makes the other spouse feel like they're not good enough. Your self-esteem is low. You feel unworthy to be loved. You feel unworthy to live. This causes them to doubt their self-worth as a person. And the pain could be so intense and create PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's damaging if this financial instability has suffered as a result of this affair. This also drains or damages a person's belief in God. This also creates worry and confusion and embarrassment, especially when the children find out. The girlfriend of a married man is called a mistress, because she's not married, aka the side chick. That's the one, that's going around causing all this havoc in marriages. That's the one you got to fast and pray for. Because this is long term. That didn't just happen. She didn't just get here. Your husband opened up the door for her to get here. So now you got to address what caused the breakdown in the marriage in order for him to let this side chick in. And you got to have an open and honest conversation about it. The children are caught in the middle of this married couple because they are left in fear and uncertainty about the future. And they are angry about the affair. And everyone is fighting, and there's division in the family. Children are very, very sensitive and dependent upon their parents for survival to produce a safe, stable, and loving home, as well as emotional stability. This person let their legally wedded spouse down. they have to live with this regret for the rest of their lives, especially if they head to divorce court. If you forgive your spouse and decide to work on your marriage and move forward, the healing process will take up to 2 years, but I think you'll still have doubt and suspicion for the rest of your life because you'll never forget how that made you feel. And it's all called an experience. It'll be there for the rest of your life, but don't hoover this over your unfaithful spouse because they made that mistake. Don't punish them for that. Just make sure to always have an open line of communication more about any and everything and build new memories with your spouse. Have it in your mind that you're not going to constantly punish them for cheating, but reward them through wedding anniversaries and birthdays, and deciding to take vacations together, and through counseling, just not even bring it up no more. Always communicate through their love language. What is your partner's love language? Do you know your husband's love language? Do you know your wife's love language? Love language can be communicated. This is the best way to communicate with your spouse, through words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, gifts, and physical touch. And sometimes you got these pesky, aggravating, toxic friends and family members that could create external circumstances that could lead your spouse to cheat, which can cause good marriages to even go bad. Adultery occurs in the workplace, the gym, social media. They can be bonding over a common cause or church, which can lead to divorce, have consequences of divorce, property division, child support, and alimony. There are red flags if your spouse is cheating or committing adultery. Do not ignore these red flags, and they must be addressed immediately. Number 1, is your spouse moody? All of a sudden, you got an attitude every time I say something to you. You got something slick to say. Number 2, are you emotionally distant? Your spouse emotionally distant? Like I'm asking you, I'm telling you about my day, and I'm asking you a question, and you're not there. You're checking out. Like you're not showing up for the marriage today. What you absent in the mind but present in the body? We doing that? No. Number 3, your spouse seems to be distracted by outside events, putting your marriage second, spending little to no quality time. You always going out by yourself, and then you don't take me with you. I want to go to the football game. I want to go to the basketball game. What's going on? I want to go out for beers. I want to hang out. It's why I was like, nah, I want to go out by myself. It's like, oh. All right. That's a red flag. Spending more time on social media. It's like, oh, wow. So now we preoccupied with Instagram now? They say Facebook been breaking up marriages for years. You sliding in somebody's DMs? Who is it this week? Number 5, continuously working overtime. Is your spouse using work as a way of escape? It's like, okay, you working overtime. Like, really? Okay, but make it make sense, because if you continuously working overtime, why are you always making large cash withdrawals and you always short on cash? So that's number 6, always short on cash. Number 7, why are we not having sex as often as we used to? I mean, you used to want it every night or every other night. Now you don't want it at all for the whole week. It's like, are you getting your satisfaction somewhere else? It's like, we need to have a conversation. Number 8, why are we not communicating as much as we used to? Phone calls, texts, and FaceTime. We used to talk every single day. Now all of a sudden, every time I call you, it says this caller is on the other line. It's like you're always on the phone with somebody else, but then not with me. Number 9, why are you always accusing me of cheating? I ain't doing nothing. Number 10, taking more pride in your appearance. So it's like, oh, so wow, who we getting dressed up for? Because you don't stay home for me when you get dressed up. After you get dressed up, you go. You hit the door. You out the door. All right, royal ones. These are 10 signs of adultery. Have your I hope this message has been helpful to you. I really do. And I pray that this message brings you healing if your spouse has been accused has been committing adultery, having an extramarital affair. I pray you find healing. I pray there's hope, and I pray the Lord intervene and make your situation better. And you and your children and your family just heal and move forward from here and create new memories and learn to heal and love and move forward. Meet me in the comment section. Let's have this conversation. Thank you so much for listening to this message. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. Love, hugs, and kisses. Bye.